there, I am Paola of PaolaPonceNails.com. Today we're going to be doing a quick and easy dry Efile pedicure. Let's begin. Today I'm going to be your model, and excuse me in advance for my feet, okay? What you first want to start off with is a throwaway napkin because you want to trim your toenails. So when you trim your toenails, what you want to do after that is toss that little napkin with your clippings away because obviously that's gross. Alright, so now it's time to file your toenails, and I do recommend, if you have it available, to work underneath a dust collector, your personal one or one that you can change your filter out, and this is going to collect any dust. I'm going to be using my MelodySusie, and it just conveniently happens to have an Efile handpiece attached to it. Once I am done filing my toenails, I'm going to take alcohol. I prefer 90% because there is less water in that, and it's going to really thoroughly dehydrate my skin around these toenails because that is going to make my e-filing so much easier. Your e-file bit really loves dry surfaces. It does not really like to work with oil unless you're polishing with your e-file, but that's not what we're doing today. So go ahead and cleanse your toenails and dehydrate them. Also use that lint-free towelette to dehydrate any dry areas on your feet that you like to work with. And we are using a disposable emery board or board file. Obviously it's your own personal, it's up to you, but I like to use disposable right now because I'm going to be giving that emery board filed a second use, and I'm gonna just toss it after. Next, I'm gonna be using one of my favorite pushers. It's from Japan, and I like this one because it's like really thin at the edge, and the scraping tool on the other side is also very gentle and thin, so it allows me to really get underneath the epinicium of my toenails, which is not the cuticle. We confuse it with cuticle. Cuticle is what is stuck on your toenail, and then epinicium is that stuff on top, the skin that we can cut and get underneath. And what I am essentially doing at this stage in my dry Efile pedicure is loosening up the skin around the nail and the skin on the nail, okay, because I'm going to be able to brush off a lot of this stuff without even having to use my Efile machine. My Efile machine is there to do the heavy lifting for me, not the easy work like this stuff, because you can create more damage to your nails that way. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the debris right into my dust collector, which is super convenient, right, to have there. And now what I'm going to do is take that scraping end of my pusher, and I'm going to grab a little towelette so I have something to dispose of all of this dry skin. You know, I don't want to just dump it into my collector. I mean, I guess you can, but not like me. Alright, so I'm really loosening it up. I'm not really trying to stab myself with this thing, okay? I'm just loosening it up, bringing the stuff that's underneath my toenail out so that I can then clip it with a nipper. Now I really like to have a tool nipper, what I call a tool nipper or a nail clipper. Basically a nipper that you use for anything other than cutting skin. This is more sturdy, it's harder, so I can clip my toenails with it too, or artificial nails. And this one's also from Japan. I'll link you to that in the description box. It's really cool. And you do not cut the corners of your toenail. Notice how I am resisting cutting the toenails. Perhaps you're like, Paula, when are you going to cut that gnarly corner off of your toenails? You know they're going to bug you. And the answer is no, we are not going to cut it. I am going to give you lifetime relief with what I'm going to do with my corners. I bet you have always tried to cut them yourself. So I'm using the belly or the working part of my cuticle nipper to pull out this skin. This just sort of builds up underneath. And if you would use your Efile bit attachment to really dig into the groove here, like to just do your whole pedicure, you're actually going to cause this skin to happen more and more often. Okay, that is why I'm just trying to remove as much as I can, or bring it out with the pusher, and then clipping with the nipper what I can. Alright, so I promised you easy, and you saw that with my nippers. I did not do anything excessive. I'm gonna come back here with my Efile. I'm gonna be using 1 diamond bit, not 2, not 3, to take care of all of the dead skin on my tootsies here. And what I want to focus on is pushing my diamond bit onto the skin. I don't want to push it into the groove, right? The side wall and the nail, what's in between that is the groove. And I don't want to press it onto my nail either, because I don't want to thin my nail down. I don't want to create more damage. In fact, I'm going to show you how to get rid of these white areas, these white spots on the nail, or the white striations, because they're not fungus. They're actually just dry lifted nail keratin layers, basically. So because you're at a funny angle, if you're doing this on yourself, you will have to change the rotation of your Efiles. So remember that Efiles go forward and reverse. So these are already looking so much better. Of course, they're dehydrated. Don't forget we used that alcohol initially to dehydrate them. So do not get anxious. In fact, what I'm going to do now is take cuticle oil to calm some of the anxiety and just really nourish this dry areas. And also, you just saw me turn down the speed on my Efile here on the MelodySusie machine that I'm using. And I do that because I don't want to have my Efile stall or come to a hard stop as I'm done using it. So I do recommend to bring down the speed all the way down and then turn off. See how easily the skin just flickers off because I dehydrated the skin earlier on with alcohol. And so now with this diamond bit, it's like really coming off super easy. All right. So are you now ready for lifetime relief of your ingrown toenails? Listen, I did so many pedicures in the salon and I always resisted cutting these corners. I minimally trimmed the edge, the corner, the point of this nail. And then I took my file and I rounded that corner off. that is going to provide so much relief to you, to your clients, to anyone that you give a pedicure. Do not dig your nippers in there and cut the nail unless you're babying it back to recovery. Do not do it. You will make the situation worse. You will end up with ingrowns. Been there, done that twice. Okay, I have ended up in the podiatry office as a teenager for just digging away and cutting at those corners. You have to leave them there. They serve as space holders to really stretch out the skin of your toenail so that it doesn't like collapse onto the toenail and create ingrowns. So look at that. Isn't it already looking amazing? And I mean, nothing like absolutely harsh on these feet thus far. There's a corner there. It won't bug me, but if you want to, you can just take your emery board and round it off. All right, so this is the secret here. You see this ceramic bit here? It's a fine grit ceramic, and I'm going to use it to remove these white spots or layers off of the nail. I am going to be working in reverse mode and bringing the Efile towards me. Fine ceramic is what I'm using to remove this delamination and essentially kind of like help my nail be as much as possible one layer rather than all of these little broken layers. And my nail is almost going to look as good as new. Again, this is a fine ceramic corn shaped bit. The yellow lets you know it's grit, which is fine ceramic. Now I'm gonna dust this off and look at that. Like nothing ever happened, right? Sorry, I don't have like the best toenails, but hey, I couldn't get you a model at 11 p.m. All right, and you probably don't want to see my husband's feet either. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing on this toenail. Very gentle, just essentially tickling the surface. And as soon as I see these layers come off, like that's it. I don't need to apply extra pressure or thin this nail any further. Just floating my ceramic bit on top. So do you remember earlier when I said I like to use a disposable file? I like to use a disposable file because I'm actually going to be giving it a second use. And remember we dehydrated those callus and dry areas? Well, now we're going to take that board file, touch up anything else we need to do on the nails, and then take it up to the dry areas. When you're doing this technique on your own feet, you want to work really, really fast because you want to create this friction, which is essentially like fusing the skin together and melting it, if I can say it that way. It's not obviously melting it, but it's basically fusing the skin so that you don't leave anything coarse or like really gritty. If you don't work fast, or if you don't seal your feet with a fine file, another fine file, your feet may actually feel worse, okay? Because now you're breaking the skin and now it's really feeling like jagged and rough. So make sure you work really, really fast to really blend that skin. Now, when you're working with calluses or on calluses, you never want to remove them fully, okay? Why do I say that? If you commit to removing a callus fully on a client, on yourself, it's going to be too much. Basically, that callus is going to try to heal itself, and as it's healing itself, it's going to be rougher than when you first went to work on it. So now it is time for a super luxe treat to yourself, just from home. Yeah, dry Efile pedicure, like spa kind of thing at home. So you want to take a washcloth and you want to add a few drops of your favorite essential oil. I'm using eucalyptus. So then you want to wet this towel, make sure it's not like soaking wet, get rid of some water. Then put it in a Ziploc baggie and put it in the microwave. And you can grab 2 if you want to, for about 90 seconds. Bring it out and treat yourself to like a super nice spa moment. And then don't forget your moisturizer. You will need something thick. I usually like a heavy cream on your feet or a urea based cream. Those are great. Either way, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed the quick and easy dry Efile pedicure method I showed you. And I do have a chart for you to download if you're interested in implements, e-files, bids, and other good stuff. My recommendations, what I've been using for years. That's down below in the description box below. I'll also link you to some of the gadgets that I use in this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.